Hi, I'm Torte de Lini. With the release of patch 7.37e, the carry pool has widened ever so slightly while nerfing overbearing popular damage dealers like Shadow Fiend, Lina, and Medusa. Now that doesn't mean this patch is a whole new ballpark, but what was frustrating was that a lot of these heroes had incredible farming, comfortable laning, and most importantly, unbeatable times when they came online that shifted match times to their shortest time ever, around 30 minutes. So with these nerfs, let's check in on which heroes are standing strong this patch according to my expertise and data from Dota2ProTracker.com. And lastly, my hero guides have been updated for patch 7.37e with over 510 changes, including a brand new guide for Kez. With a lot of safe lane ranged carries starting to fall to the wayside, we are now ushering in a new wave of brawling melee carries that can have decent lanes and, more importantly, can jump from farm to fight in less than 30 minutes. Heroes like Alchemist are still very popular, while we're also seeing brawlers like Ursa starting to show up more and more. The hero I want to highlight is Spectre. Like Alchemist, he still gets his Radiance by 20 or so minutes and builds into Manta style and then Bloodthorn to just gank, gank, and gank. Alternatively, you can also just start out with Orchid and skip Radiance altogether. This patch is all about high tempo, fast killing pause 1 heroes to end the match and call it a day once they get their farm. And with Spectre, he plugs into a lot of heroes that are circling this meta. For example, Dawnbreaker and Spectre means you can see the whole map with Dawnbreaker's innate ability, Break of Dawn, for Spectre to then Shadow Step on the target, and Dawnbreaker can still solo Guardian in if need be. So those typical safe lane carries that hide in the jungle all throughout the mid game are in deep trouble when Spectre and Dawnbreaker is picked up. Same thing with the laning stage of Lich and Spectre. Typically, Spectre does not like to be interrupted during the laning stage, but with Lich, you mitigate the damage in the lane for Spectre to practically nothing, and you have a strong AoE slow to combine with your Spectral Dagger slow, and Spectre finishes the lane fairly uninterrupted, to which he can then go Orchid, start those ganks, or build Radiance, jumpstart his farm with ease. Alternatively, Dragonite is still a safe pick in the safe lane with Armlet, Mask of Madness, etc. On the flip side, that doesn't mean all range carries are dead, just the really annoying ones, but rest assured, there will always be an annoying ranged hero you somehow can't beat. That hero is Morphling. Even though Kana did get nerfed in 7.37e, making it cheaper and weaker for the caster, it doesn't change a whole lot for Morphling, who is still an incredibly comfortable laner and standing taller now that 7.37e has nerfed Lina and Shadow Fiend. The big challenge for Morphling is dealing with Alchemist and Dragonite, who have the regeneration and survivability to outlast Morphling's initial nuke damage from Adaptive Strike, and can easily gank with their ranged stuns and fast damage dealing. As of right now, Morphling's build is pretty straightforward. You max out Waveform and then just max out your attributes until you are ready to fight, and then you will max out Adaptive Strike there and then. Don't forget that in 7.36e, Morphling's Waveform now attacks all targets it goes through with 50% of Morph's attack damage. So he farms like crazy and is the reason we pick up attributes for that damage. The concept plays off that for a strong nuking spell on any weak spellcaster with Adaptive Strike. So you're looking at a hero in his simplest form right now, where it's all about waveform farm with Vladimir's offering, heightening your base attack damage by 18%, while also providing lifesteal and mana regeneration to waveform across the different jungle camps quickly. And then Adaptive Strike in fights, follow through with your right-clicking down foes with your late game items like Butterfly and Daedalus. Alternatively, Drow Ranger is really showing a lot of promise as the new ranged safe lane carry to play, especially with her ease to go on Silver Edge to shut down rivaling carries, and her marksmanship to shut down all those IG based armored heroes like Shadow Fiend, Spectre, and Kez. Now, Lina is my personal go-to pick this patch, and it's really easy to tell why. For starters, the hero doesn't build as a right clicker anymore, but more as a magic dealer in the mid lane. So you're all about momentum in terms of damage and suppressing the enemy team from hitting their item timings, while you secure map control and objectives after each and every kill. Lina really shines on the basis of two key areas. One, her ultimate has a low cooldown and unbeatable damage that scales incredibly well with her simple item build of Boots of Travel, Ag Scepter, Ag Shard, Kaya, and or Aether Lens into Ethereal Blade. Ag Scepter not only gives you increased flying movement speed, but also 35% spell amplification. Combine that with Ag Shard and you are now dealing even more damage when at max Fiery Souls. Now let's stack on top your Facet Thermal Runaway, and you are upping those stacks to 12 for even more magic damage. And then Kaya and Ethereal Blade are no-brainers, they contribute even more magic damage directly. So long as you hit your item timings and regularly gank, you'll find yourself with a strong lead in the mid game and a sizable amount of kills. Number 2, that brings me to my second point. With all that magic damage, you are clearing creep waves instantly, and with Boots of Travel, it means you can keep lanes pushed while also always having a teleport scroll available to jump into a fight with ease and instant nuke damage. In 7.37e, they buffed Fiery Soul's Ag Shard even more, meaning your magic damage output is vastly more efficient than before. It might feel intimidating having to buy boots to travel first, but Lina's laning is very comfortable because of her Dragon Slave can stack nearby jungle camp with ease, and your long range and low cooldown spell means you are harassing and last hitting against your opponents fairly decently. In short, Lina is a tempo hero farmer that relies on her effective ganking prowess to secure a strong early lead that she will run with as she builds up her magic damage output to outpace a lot of popular carries in the meta. What's key is to ensure you capitalize on your lead to end the game and squeeze map control from your opponents so there's less room for them to farm and a stronger security in your path to victory. New patch, same puck in the mid lane. This hero has been meta for the entirety of 7.37, and mostly because the hero hasn't really been touched in a meaningful way. During the laning stage, puck can have what feels like infinite mana because of their puckish passive, which can be triggered by pretty much anything. But on top of that, the hero has a game-changing ultimate ability that has a relatively low cooldown, 75 seconds, that can be used to roam immediately since puck doesn't really need items to gank. Thanks to Illusory Orb, Puck is pretty efficient in crossing the map to gank with the right rune, and with them maxing out Illusory Orb and Waning Rift. Puck is still one of the fastest heroes to build Witchblade for some mid-game timings and ganks. Puck has the 6th highest base intelligence and the 3rd highest intelligence gain, so her right-click power is actually quite astounding, and one of the reasons why they pick up Witchblade, eventually Parasma, as her ultimate lasts a relatively long time and your right-click has power. Overall, Puck is a safe pick for anyone who knows how to play them, and quite frankly, fits in most lineups. So we talked about Terrorblade in a dedicated video earlier last week, so go check that out, but the cliff notes are simple. Terrorblade has been overlooked as an early game hero because his late game carry potential has always shown more strongly. However, over the year, the developers have been buffing Terrorblade's reflection ability and dedicating level 10 and 15 talent slots to make that ability absolutely horrifying to play against. At max level, Terrorblade is able to cast Reflection's massive AoE every 9 seconds, and it slows both all targets' attack and movement speed on top of dealing 100% of their damage back at them, and these enemy hero illusions cannot be destroyed. By level 10, Terrorblade can cast Reflection every 5 seconds with the duration lasting 5 seconds, and by level 15, his Reflection enemy hero illusions deal 110% damage back at all targets. So even in the laning stage, Terrorblade tends to boot out a lot of popular safe laners like Morphling, Shadow Fiend, just with his one spell. Throw in Metamorphosis, and most opponents just can't handle Terrorblade with popular pause for support picks like Lion or Shadow Demon. Now there are concerns about his survivability, which is why he seems to be favored as a late game carry. But those concerns have been demystified because the hero is actually relatively unkillable once he picks up an item like Pipe of Insight. Even during the laning stage, he walks around with 9 armor, pretty much negating most physical harassment, and rushes Bracer and Magic Wand to help mitigate the magic damage harassment. His first item is also usually Pipe of Insight to help offset the magic damage that could nuke his puny health pool, but also because Pipe of Insight gives him a whopping 14 health regeneration that's amplified by the second item, Ag Shard, and its ability, Demon Zeal. Demon Zeal has been underrated by the general player base, but when we look at what it offers, it's actually pretty incredible. For starters, Demon Zeal doubles your survivability with an additional 20 health regeneration. What's more is that Demon Zeal also gives you unmatched movement speed and additional attack speed to both Terrorblade, your illusions, and your enemy hero illusions from Reflection for half of its value. Demon Zeal achieves 2 main values. 1. When you use Sunder to save an ally, Demon Zeal will regenerate you back up incredibly fast while giving you the movement speed to run away or to continue engaging in the fight. Secondly, Demon Zeal's attack speed can help you farm with your conjure images, as well as push and split lanes, and this helps compensate for Terrorblade's lack of stats in the mid game since he opted for early game team fighting capabilities with Pipe of Insight. Lastly, Terrorblade's early game strength does not mean he sacrifices his late game. He can still achieve late game damage output with Manta Style, Eye of Skadi, and Daedalus. There's just now a strong focus on his early game to bully out rivaling carries and secure his own team's team fighting capabilities in the mid game, knowing the enemy's carry not going to hit their power spike timings. What do all core heroes have in common? They're susceptible to ganks, and Nyx Assassin with the Scuttle facet is so annoying to deal with. Heroes like Morphling and Lina just can't handle his early game powers, and his low cooldown on Spike Carapace regularly interrupts them at their most important time to fight. Same goes for Radiance builders like Alchemist. What's more is that Nyx Assassin can always go the mana burn facet for Medusa, or simply rely on Mind Flare to deal damage based on Medusa's max mana. That's on a 7-second cooldown. Alternatively, Nyx Assassin can always buy Ag Shard for the break to deal with Dragonite. Remember that the break applies before Vendetta damage, so Dragonite is especially susceptible to Nyx Assassin. All this while Nyx Assassin is still keeping tempo in the mid game, just like the meta is aiming for right now. Don't forget, in 7.36, Nyx Assassin's Mind Flare worked on creeps to insta-kill them, so Nyx Assassin can now finally farm for his much needed Dagon levels at a more realistic time. Alternatively, if you can swing it, Bounty Hunter is still a great pick to take advantage of your team's early tempo to collect gold real fast on those sweet ganks. Just need the right lineup for him both in lane and in terms of ganking. Plug Lich into any safe lane and watch him destroy. With the nerf to Pipe of Insight earlier on, Lich's damage is all the more potent in all stages of the game, but it's really about the Frost Shield, which got a massive bump in 7.37D, where it provides damage reduction of 45% at level 1, on top of its 20% slow for 5 seconds. So whether your laning partner is passive and getting harassed, or he's aggressive and wants to harass, you have a support hero that can prime enemy targets with lower health thanks to Frost Blast and rev up his pos 1 carry with Frost Shield. There's actually no wrong answer, and with Frost Shield max second, Lich can stack jungle and ancient camps for his team and help wipe those camps out quickly with Frost Shield. Throw in his first item, Solar Crest, and you have a strong tempo fighting carry hero with a ton of protection, an AoE slow, and his butt buddy Lich with infinite mana thanks to his innate ability, Death Charge. Lich is just an all-around safe pick regardless of the lineup, and we won't see that change until probably next patch. Alternatively, Ogre fulfills a similar capability as Lich, and not just for ranged heroes. Ogre Magi now maxes out Bloodlust second to align with the timing of his carry and buff them up while picking up Solar Crest and Ag Shard for extra protection and massive attack speed to make fights go swiftly in Ogre team's favor. In terms of honorable mentions, I mentioned a lot of carries these days, but Ursa is showing a lot of promise. That's been a personal pain in the ass for me. Again, any hero that can take advantage of Lich or Ogre Magi in the lane is looking really hot right now, and Ursa checks those boxes while still building his usual item, Battle Fury, Blink, and Black King Bar. Alternatively, Kez is still a great mid-game pos 1 brawler. I play him a lot when I have to play pos 1, and you can check out my dedicated video on him, but I do want to mention that while his laning is dependent on the matchup, his farming with Battle Fury is fantastic thanks to Echo Slash, Grappling Hook to maneuver the jungle quickly, and Falcon Rush when farming pre-Battle Fury. I also am finding a lot of comfort in Katsurai Katana during my laning phase to both secure last hits with its extra damage as well as to harass melee offlaners with the Katsurai Katana passive effect. Late game, I opt for Butterfly to make the Shadow side passive proc more, as well as providing additional survivability through evasion and Satanic to take advantage of my great attack speed through agi scaling and bump up my health pool to something remotely decent. Don't forget to activate your Shadow side passive or the parry effect to punish rivaling carries who try to right click you down, as well as Raven's Veil to dispel and disconnect from a fight to then re-engage for free stun and crit attack from the Shadow side passive. Alrighty, well, that's pretty much it for me. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what heroes have been working for you. If you like these videos and my Dota 2 guides, please support the channel either by becoming a paying member or subscribing on my Twitch. You could do it for free using your Amazon Prime. Your support actually keeps the guides alive and this educational channel going. I'd really appreciate the help. Thanks.